Yes, Councilmember Carr.
Here.
Councilmember Panduro.
Here.
Councilmember Santu is absent. Councilmember Tonneson is recused. Councilmember Williams, absent. Vice Mayor Bertani is recused, and Mayor Moy.
Here.
Thank you.
And public comments?
Okay. Persons wishing to address the City Council on subjects not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the council may do so at this time. The council cannot discuss or take action on matters not on the agenda for this meeting, but council members may briefly respond to statements made or questions raised by the public, ask for clarification from staff, refer the matter to staff, request staff to report back to the council at a subsequent meeting, or place the matter on a future agenda. To speak on an agenda item, if you're online, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 on your phone. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes per item. And our new business item, D1, motion to continue. Oh, sorry, did we have anyone wanting to speak?
Yeah, Madam Clerk, I think there's somebody online that has their hand raised.
Oh, okay. Valeria, can you bring that person on?
There is actually 2 people. The first one is called Nicole Phyllis.
Okay.
I'm going to give her a little more time. I'm going to give her 5 minutes because
Okay.
she is defending the.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And good afternoon. And I see that I'm not on video. Good afternoon, Your Honors. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I had just requested to raise my hand so I could get in queue. Is now an appropriate time to give my presentation?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I did submit a short letter opposing briefly the continuance on 3 fairly simple and straightforward grounds. 1, it is not in the best interests of the City of Fairfield. 2, it is directly prejudicial to the interests of Authentic, including its ability to open by December 1, 2025. And 3, the only real entities or persons who would benefit from this continuance are private interests, namely the private interests of 3 operators who are trying to limit an additional operator in the market. I'll briefly address each point. So first, continuance and delay is both against the interests of the City of Fairfield and prejudices Authentic's interests. As I am sure you may appreciate as well, honorable council members and staff and our honorable city attorney, this matter seems to be a fairly significant suck on the resources of council and of staff and on the city attorney. We've had at least 3 hearings since December, and no clear end in sight if this matter is again continued to some indefinite date. The uncertainty in the cloud over Authentic's preliminary approval has limited its ability to continue to develop its license pursuant to the preliminary approval it was granted. And they want to meet that December 1 deadline. They want to meet that deadline not only because it will allow them to become operational, but it will demonstrate their good faith commitment to this community. In particular, Authentic anticipates that it will deprive the city of further delay could deprive the city of tax revenues that would be generated by Authentic's addition to this market. With 4 operators in the market, Authentic estimates that the tax revenue generated per annum would be between $800,000 and $1 million per year. Further delay prejudices their ability to generate that revenue and prejudices the city's ability to utilize that revenue. Further, I think it's important to note that private interests have become the loudest voices on this matter. And the October 1, 2024 hearing is quite telling. On October 1, 2024, Josh Lewis, the Government Affairs Director for Responsible and Compliant Fairfield, which does business as Embark Fairfield, testified clearly that Embark supported the amendments to the FMC so that they could keep the number of licenses in Fairfield limited to 3. This was not about, fixing issues within the code. This was not about the integrity of the law. or making it more consistent. They specifically testified about limiting the market to 3. And these are some of their comments. Quote, "The Fairfield free cannabis market has proven that 3, not 4, is the right number of cannabis dispensaries for this market." Again, in another comment, they testified, quote, "It is clear that 3 operators is the right number for this city, and adding a 4th will not increase tax revenue. It will only take from existing operators." And then another comment, we encourage you to move forward in confidence with your 3 selected cannabis retail locations in order to protect the city's cannabis business program and ensure that Fairfield's cannabis market remains stable and competitive. But those positions are directly in conflict with basic economic principles. Those economic principles, including principles that were most recently pronounced by the Biden White House, has specifically warned about the dangers of market consolidation. So here's what the Biden White House said about that. "Basic economic theory demonstrates that when firms have to compete for customers, it leads to lower prices, higher quality goods and services, greater variety, and more innovation. In contrast," and this is another quote I will clarify, "in contrast, when market power becomes too concentrated, quote, dominant firms can use their market power to charge higher prices, offer decreased quality, and block potential competitors from entering the market, meaning entrepreneurs and small businesses cannot participate on a level playing field, and new ideas cannot become new goods or services." And that is, I have the specific citations to that from the White House archive, but that is exactly what's happening here. There are private interests who want to protect their market share within the Fairfield market, and they are pushing aggressively. They're taxing the city's resources, and they are trying to keep a competitor out of the Fairfield market. I also want to speak briefly to this Public Records Act request, because this is new. So I understand that Responsible and Compliant recently submitted a Public Records Act request on March 4th, 2025. They ask that this council continue the hearing in light of that Public Records Act request to gather more information on their competitor, Authentic. But Responsible and Compliant has known about this issue as evidenced by their testimony since October 2024. They waited until the very last minute, once again, to try to drum up more information to convince this council why it should exclude a competitor from the market, the very competitor who helped defend this city's legal process in awarding the license that Responsible and Compliant got. They're pulling up the ladder behind them, and they're trying to leave Authentic without any ability to operate in this city. To be clear, this is a private interest and not an interest that serves the benefit of the city. It will decrease tax revenue, it will decrease competition, it will limit access, and it's inconsistent with other peer cities, such as El Monte, which had, I believe, 6 licenses awarded, and other cities that I've identified in my correspondence submitted this morning that are comparable or smaller in size than Fairfield, who have between 4 and 6 licenses and are quite vibrant cannabis markets. Authentic wants to be a good partner to this city. It wants to promote better access, more competition, more tax revenue, and it wants to do it quickly because it understands that I believe that the initial impetus for the city's consideration of these issues was that they wanted operators who got preliminary approval to become operational. That is exactly what Authentic is trying to do. I also just want to share personally, I have trials coming up in May, so further delay will limit Authentic's ability to have its counsel present at these proceedings. My trial is set to start on May 5th, and so we respectfully request that the council keep the hearing on March 18th. We're prepared to proceed. We're ready to answer your questions. We're ready to show why we can be a good partner to this city and why our participation in the local cannabis economy here will serve the best interests of your constituents, and the city at large. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you here today. And if you have any questions, I welcome the opportunity to answer them.
Thank you, council. Do we have anybody else to speak?
I notice there are 2 hands raised online.
Yes, we have L. Cullen.
Okay, thank you, Valeria. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, honorable members of the City Council. This is Larry Conlon. I represent Embark. And I'd just like to respond to a few of the points that Ms. Phyllis made. We do believe that this is in the public's interest to continue the hearing on March 18th. It's not just a private interest because it affects the credibility of an operator seeking to do business in the city and partner with the city in public trust. This is an issue that the city raised when the city chose to rescind Authentic's permit. There are real concerns about prior representations made by Authentic to this city council that it did not change ownership without notifying the city or getting approval from the city. And there are more recent representations now that Authentic has made that change of ownership rules should not apply to Authentic because it now takes the position that it is not a permittee at all. That to me looks like an admission that Authentic has in fact changed ownership and now wants a free pass to skirt the Fairfield Municipal Code and its guidelines. The issue today is whether the March 18th hearing should be continued. Why? So that the city can get its hands on records that Authentic submitted to DCC demonstrating whether or not Authentic changed ownership without notifying the city or getting the city's required approval. It is remarkable to me that Authentic has not provided these same records that we've asked DCC for more than 10 days ago. Why hasn't Authentic provided those records to the city if it's so insistent that there's been no ownership change? We believe that they're going to show when we get our hands on them and provide them to the city that Authentic has not fairly or truthfully represented its ownership status to the city, and I think that should be a real concern to the city and to the community. So we ask that the hearing be continued to allow adequate time for Embark to receive its response from the DCC or for the city to submit its own PRA request to the DCC. We kind of assume that's already been done, but if it's not, it should be. And for Authentic to provide its own DCC records to the city for full transparency, which is a very important issue under the circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers?
Valeria, can you bring the next person online, please?
Yes, it's called Tax Sato.
Thank you.
This is Tak Sato. Thank you, Honorable Council, for taking the time to hear us out today. To add to our attorney statements earlier, I just want to reiterate that we're very eager to start construction and to open up our store as soon as possible. I sincerely apologize for the delay that's taken us to this date. As I mentioned, we had some issues with our landlord and the tenant improvements, but that's all been squared away, and we are ready and eager to build out and open up as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we are up against a December 1st deadline under your ordinance that would require us to give up our preliminary approval if we're not open by then. And so every day that we're unable to break ground and every day that there's uncertainty, it really puts us a lot of pressure on us and puts us behind a stacked deck as far as being able to open on time. We've already had 2 delays. The initial hearing about this matter was December. It's middle of March now, and it's getting increasingly more difficult for us to open up the store in time. But if we're able to have this hearing And assuming that, I'm not saying that that this council will vote in our favor, but in the chance that it does, that will allow us, starting mid-March, to break ground and to get open on time. But the more we delay, it really becomes difficult for us to open. And the fact of the matter is, I meet with Fairfield residents who shop at our Suisun City on a weekly basis, and they let us know how eager and how excited they are that we are opening up a Fairfield store right in their neighborhood. And my point with that is that, as Nicole mentioned, I believe that the Fairfield residents do want us to open. They do want more access to more affordable, high-quality products in their cities. And delaying this hearing and further jeopardizing our ability to open does not serve their interest. It might serve the interest of the two competitors who do not want us to enter the market, but I do not believe it serves the interest of the city. And so I I respectfully request that this hearing continue without further delay so that we have the opportunity, if so granted, to open up the store on time. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
And next,
Next-
we have Brian Mitchell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor, council members, thanks for hearing us today. I'll keep this brief. I just wanted to respond to Embark's attorney's comments. So I think we've been very transparent about the change of ownership that happened, which was my father passing away. I believe he had 30% ownership in the business. He passed away. We've explained that numerous times, that those shares that interest went back to the company. And we've spent a considerable amount of money simply defending to have our right to move forward and build out the process. That's on top of the $1 million we already have into this project. If you look at what was submitted to the state of California, I wasn't even listed as an owner on there. It was obviously incorrect. We made a correction. The ownership that's currently listed and reflected on the website reflects the true ownership of the business. The documents we've submitted to the city, such as the LLC documents, they reflect the true ownership. So there was a mistake. We corrected it. We've explained that. We just asked to have, Tuesday move on so that we can move on with the process and hopefully open by December 1st, which will be a challenge even if things go well on Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more hands raised. Did
Okay.
anyone else wish to speak? No? Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to bring it back to us. Did you guys have anything that you wanted to say before we vote?
Actually, so, Madam Mayor, just so to clarify, just to clarify a few things. So we do have a quorum because currently, even though we have a 7-person council, because Councilmember Tonneson and Vice Mayor Bertani recused themselves under California law, they are not counted towards quorum. So we count the quorum as if we have 5, so we have 3 here. That's a majority, in case people are wondering why we don't have 4 for a majority. So we do have a quorum. This special meeting was set at your request, Madam Mayor, on a
Right.
motion to continue a public hearing.
Right.
So the motion was made by you, but we still need a second
To continue?
to determine whether we will vote on this motion. It's like any normal motion. So you brought this forward to the special
I
meeting
said the
on a
meeting,
motion
yeah.
to continue. We would need, procedurally, we would need a second before
To
we
even consider
could even
it.
get to a vote.
Does anybody want to second that to even talk about this right now? It's a second, and all in favor? Aye. Okay, that was unanimous.
Okay. Sounds great.
And I have a question of staff, if you don't have any questions. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, did you have something?
No, I was just wondering if I was to read the title.
I'm sorry?
I didn't read the title.
Oh, why don't you read the title now? Just,
Okay. New business D1, motion to continue public hearing scheduled for March 18th, 2025 regarding Resolution 2025-37, rescinding approved business permit to Authentic Fairfield LLC.
And that was a motion by Mayor Moy, seconded by Councilmember Panduro, and the vote was 3-0 to continue the matter.
No,
Oh,
That was just to have the conversation.
that was just to have the
oh,
conversation.
sorry. Okay, so there's been no vote.
No,
Oh, sorry.
that's okay.
I was looking down. I apologize. Okay,
That's all
no
right.
vote then. Good thing I said it out loud.
Yeah, I thought you were just, all right. Dave Zellers, could you come up, please? Do we have the official documents from the pot board up at the state?
Actually, Mayor Moy, 1 minute ago, I received a response to an email that I sent to the Department of Cannabis Control. The question I posed to them was, on Monday of this week, I asked them for their records for each change in ownership for the following entities since their licenses were granted by the state of California: the Showcase LLC, Authentic Fairfield LLC, JJVI Enterprises, Inc., Responsible and Compliant Retail Fairfield LLC. I have now received response from the state. Now, I just got it, and I just asked them a follow-up question, so I don't want to go any further than that, but yes, I do have a response. So I'm now in contact with them and getting the information. What I can tell you is, of the 4 entities, based on the initial response I received from them, only one of our entities has had a change in ownership, and that is Authentic Fairfield LLC.
Okay, all right, thank you. That helps very much. Okay, so, all right. Are you aware, I'm sorry, Dave, are you aware, will you be getting any of those public documents before Tuesday? And that'd be moving pretty fast for the state.
I can ask them. I will actually, now that I have a phone number for the individual who replied, I will call her immediately after this meeting.
Perfect, because I have some questions I'll talk to you about later about that. Okay, so I think that it's likely that we will get that, and I'm happy to hear what he just said. I have a couple of comments about this. This process started as a political process, had nothing to do with staff coming to any of us and saying we have a problem. This started with a former councilman, and I seconded it to look into whether we have a problem. So we started with a political process. Then we sent it over to staff and said, find some way for us to do this. So they were looking for some way to do what we as their bosses told them to do. That's not exactly how government should work, and it sounds a little bit like corruption. I'm not saying that anybody was corrupt. I'm just saying that's very uncomfortable to me, especially because I was the second there. I believed that Authentic walked away and didn't care anymore. That's what I believed. However, as I think you all know also, that when there was a change of ownership, I was told, and so was Mayor Harry Price, and I did tell the city manager at that time that Dr. Mitchell had passed away and there would be a change of ownership. Where it went from there, that wasn't I figured if the mayor or anybody needed to do anything, or if Authentic needed to do it, then do it, But we knew that there was a death, okay? I'm bringing you through this because I want it on the record. I also believe that others have violated our codes, and that we go down this road, we're going to have to take out a couple of the others that I've seen. I think we've spent too much time. I think we're being unfair. And Authentic is defending itself. And when I think about what is due process for a business or anybody defending themselves, that we should give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, not in saving their license or their interim license or whatever we call it, but in their timing. They're saying, we heard their counsel say, no, she has trial. And she told us that when she was here, after she'd flown up here, and then we delayed at that time, or, you know. So I am not going to vote to delay this at all anymore. I think they should come up here, put up, and if they don't have it, and the council thinks that even though this started as a political process, and we told them to give us something to go at, is that the way we want to do it to everybody, every business that comes to Fairfield? Do we really want to do that? Have we given them due process? I want us to think about those things. So anyway, that's how I'm going to vote, and I just wanted to say that on the record because, you know, I knew of these things. I knew that it had changed hands because I had been told about the death by Mr. Mitchell, Brian Mitchell, not his dad who passed away. I knew that he was sick with cancer. And so did Mayor Price because he was friends with Dr. Mitchell. So anyway, I wanted to put that on the record so everybody knew. That's really all I have to say about that. If you guys have something to say now, it's good. Go ahead, Councilman Doug.
Okay, we are speaking, you know, to put things on the record, so I might as well on this whole cannabis thing. As most people know, I'm a licensed advanced alcohol and drug counselor.
Right.
I've been dealing with the negative aspects of cannabis for over 20 years. I'm not in favor, that's why no cannabis places reached out to me, because I'm not in favor of any of them. I think that there are some medical aspects and some pharmacological good in cannabis, but that's not what these dispensaries mostly deal with. With that said, at the same time, I just want to say on the record, it's not just been a political process here, it's through every town and city that they've came.
Yes.
I'm with you, Mayor, I agree, I've heard enough about this. And with that said, I'd like to put it to bed as soon as possible as well. However, we just got new information. Again, I haven't even got through all the emails that have been coming in from different places on exactly why they want to continue. But with the new information, I would like to have some more information on it. But at this time, I'm going to tell people how I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote for rescind.
I'd actually caution you to not vote at this point. We're on the limited, today's special meeting is for the limited purpose of deciding whether to continue this matter. And so the hearing hasn't been reconvened. This is just on a very limited motion to continue.
Well, then I'm going to go for continue because I want I don't want to be hasty or be prejudiced because my job, what I do, I need all the information. So I'm going to take the information that Mr. Zellers is going to get forward to us along with all the other information, and I don't know that that can be done by Tuesday. So
Possible.
that's where I stand.
All right. And, yeah, Councilwoman Penduro.
Thank you, Mayor. So, I mean, I think back to other public hearings that we've done with other businesses, and I feel that in those hearings as well, we've gone and we've gathered all the information that's presented to us, and I think especially for this one, it has turned political.
Started that way, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know that it started that way, but I also think about my two new colleagues who were not here at the beginning of the process. And I think that the folks that were here at the beginning, like you and myself, I think we have a very different perspective and a different connection to this item. And I know facts are important.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that we have all the facts in front of us to move forward in the appropriate way, because they will be a business partner within our city and within our community. And I want to make sure that we have everything laid out in front of us so that we can make the best choice for our city and for our community, to have them as a partner in this community. And And looking back, I think that's what's been the way we made a lot of our decisions, was based off facts. And I think we have to stay on the facts of this. And if we have more facts coming in from, like Mr. Zellers was talking about, that I also would like to see. And then the letter that the council, David Lim, the letter that Nicole was talking about, was that already sent to us, or did we get that letter from?
I'm sorry, the letter from who?
From the council, from Authentic? She mentioned a letter.
Yeah, I heard that, and to be honest, I'm not sure. We've gotten a couple letters from them, I think. So I don't know if the letter she's referencing is one that we've already received.
Okay.
I
forwarded-
received it this morning at 9:30 and was told that the city manager also got it. I did not at that time, and the city manager saying he did not. And I will say that I did have time to read the letter because it came at 9:30 this morning, and it was the same thing that council reiterated on this, so basically the same thing. But yeah, so you guys don't have that in front of you. And we do have a deadline that I set of 5 o'clock today, so anything that comes in before then could be something that we look at, on Tuesday, or if we're going to put it off later. My concern is, as it always is in fairness, and I totally agree with you guys about this. Part of the problem with the way that we came at this was that staff wanted to do what we told them to do, what Rick and I directed them to do. So they went and they did things, and that it wasn't as in-depth as all of the stuff when we first looked at it. If it were, then they would have had this stuff from the pot board up there at the state. And now we're in a situation where Authentic won't have, if we do it in April, and if we do it later, we're shortening their time. If they actually get to have a permit, we're shortening the time that they can get done what they need to do. And when I think about others, like let's say City Church, we allowed them to cure, and we cut through a lot of weeds for them. And we are not doing the same that I see it for Authentic. We're not letting them cure. And I think that's unfair, and we should be consistent.
And Councilmember Pandero, I can confirm, I just checked through my emails. I do have an email that came in at 9:02 this morning, so I apologize. I didn't see it in my inbox. I've looked at the letter from Authentic briefly, and it only addresses this motion. It doesn't talk
Right.
about the substance of whether to, revoke or not revoke the permit. It's only addressed as to granting a continuance. And Ms. Phyllis has already spoken to that, so I don't think there's any, I'll forward it to you later, but it has nothing substantive other than objecting to this motion to continue.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Anyway, so I think we put staff in a bad position. Rick and I did when we asked to do this, and I don't like that. It was a mistake, and I think our biggest mistake was that Councilman Doug wasn't with us in the beginning and would have stood probably with Mayor Price and Pam Bertani opposing anything like this in our town, because I would today. I don't want it here. If I could shut them all down, I would. I don't like it. But that's not what we're talking about right now. So and so anyway, they aren't going to have counsel for a while because she's going into trial, like she said. And so this is going to be pushed back quite a ways. That benefits the competitors who very much want them not to be here. And let's just be honest, they're trying to cut their throats. They do it everywhere they are, just like Authentic, or whatever they call themselves, Stizzy or whatever, tries to cut the throats of Embark. I've followed this, and this is a dirty business, and as Councilman Doug said, and it's cost us money in a lot of ways, and a lot of time, a lot of grief, and anyway, that's enough. So I'll entertain a motion then. It sounds like you two would like to go ahead and delay this some more, so.
I'm sorry, one item just to address I feel compelled to address a comment made by Councilmember Carr. He said, that he wanted to see the information from the state, and he opined whether or not staff could get it to you by Tuesday. Just a reminder that one option you have is you can always make a motion to continue on Tuesday. You don't need to decide that now. If you don't get what you want on Tuesday, you at that point can move to continue the hearing. If you move to continue the hearing now, then you would reset the date. You would basically be canceling Tuesday and then picking a new date. But I'm only saying that because Councilmember Carr specifically said, well, I don't know if staff will get me what I need by Tuesday, which is fair as a decision maker, but you can always say, well, let's wait until Tuesday. And if we don't get what we need, then we'll make the motion to continue at that time. That's just an option you have.
Well, let me clarify. Even if they can get it to me, I mean, it isn't the only thing on my plate. I'll need a little bit of time to take a look at it and all the research, because that's what I do. I don't just nilly-dilly look at something and make a decision. I'll do all the research. So even if he gets it to me now, I mean, this is Friday, there's Saturday, I do have plans, so I'm not going to be able to look at it probably till Monday night. So, I got a full-time position at over at the courthouse, as you guys all know too. I'm a pretty busy guy. So I don't see that I'm going to have, if he handed it to me right now, I might be able to take a look at it and come up with a decision whether to delay this or not. But as of now, I would wish to continue it.
Okay, is that a motion? Or I'm sorry, Councilwoman Pandora, did you have something else? Okay.
Then I would make a motion.
Okay, there's a motion. Second. And a second. So all in favor? And I'm a no.
Okay. And that's to continue it?
To continue. So they are, it is to be continued. And I will talk to staff. I'm not going to set a date right now because we need to reach out to, did you need to say something, Mr. Signage?
We were debating, we don't need a date certain. We can always circle back with Authentic and get a date from them as to when they want to continue. But I was thinking, even before City Manager talked to me, I think Ms. Phyllis might still be watching. I don't know if she wants to give us dates now. It's at the mayor's discretion. We don't need to pick a date now. You can just say, staff, find us a date down the road, and then we'll work with Authentic to get a date.
Yeah, I would prefer that you go ahead and speak with her. Authentic, I mean, and the others are going to come with both barrels shooting no matter when it is, because they're here to kill. So, yeah, so no problem.
Okay. And then just to clarify for the record for anyone listening, the hearing date scheduled for next Tuesday, March 18th is vacated and will be rescheduled.
Very good, thank you. And with that, I am going to close the city council. But first, want to say thank you to you two for coming so we could get this done today instead of having their lawyer fly up and then we tell them go away, and that's the second time we do it. And so thank you very much. I appreciate you taking your time out. And the city clerk and staff as well. Thank you so much.